If power and institutions explain global politics, then why do states sometimes act against material interests? Why does Germany avoid aggressive military expansion despite having the economic capacity to do so? Why did apartheid in South Africa collapse under international pressure even though the regime once had internal control? Constructivism begins with this challenge to both realism and liberalism. Material power and institutions matter, but ideas, identities, and norms shape how states interpret their interests in the first place. Constructivism argues that the international system is not defined only by anarchy and power distribution. It is socially constructed through shared beliefs and meanings. One of its most influential thinkers, Alexander Wendt, famously argued that anarchy is what states make of it. In other words, anarchy does not automatically produce rivalry. It depends on how states perceive one another. The United States does not treat Canada the way it treats North Korea, even though both exist in the same anarchic system. The difference lies in identity and perception, not structure alone. Identity plays a central role. States act based on how they see themselves and how they are seen by others. Post-World War II, Germany reconstructed its identity around economic strength, multilateralism, and restraint. That identity shapes its foreign policy behavior today. Similarly, China's narrative of national rejuvenation influences its assertiveness in the South China Sea. Russia's framing of itself as a great power resisting Western encroachment shapes its strategic posture. These actions are not driven only by material calculations. They are influenced by collective memory and national identity. Norms, shared expectations about acceptable behavior, also shape global politics. The global norm against the use of chemical weapons has led to widespread condemnation and sanctions when violations occur. The principle of responsibility to protect, RP, emerged as a norm, suggesting that the international community has an obligation to intervene in cases of mass atrocities. Even nuclear weapons, despite existing in large numbers, are constrained by a strong norm against their use. These norms influence state behavior because legitimacy matters. States care about reputation and international standing. Constructivism also explains how change occurs. The end of the Cold War, for example, cannot be fully explained by military defeat alone. The shift in Soviet leadership under Mikhail Gorbachev, combined with changing ideas about security and cooperation, transformed the perception of rivalry. Similarly, the expansion of human rights norms, environmental awareness, and gender equality in international politics demonstrates how ideas reshape expectations over time. What was once acceptable becomes unacceptable through evolving norms. Constructivism shifts the focus from material forces to social forces. It argues that interests are not fixed. They are shaped by identity, culture, and shared understanding. Power matters, and institutions matter. But how states interpret both depends on ideas. Whether examining debates over climate responsibility, digital sovereignty, or human rights, identity and norms remain central. And now that you understand how constructivism highlights the role of ideas in shaping global politics, the next step is to examine perspectives that challenge the system more fundamentally, including Marxism and critical theories in international relations.